person whom I know, because he's from my own college, the person whom I admire as one of the greatest epidemiologists, scientists, who is down to earth, and also he's always helpful to me whenever I got problem issue with epidemiology, including today's lecture. I asked him, can you give me some notes? So he was very humble and gave me some notes to talk to my introduction. Dr. Sanjay Dhodpe sir, who is a professor, MD, PhD. He is a vice president, academics, Public Health Foundation of India, New Delhi, which was the brainchild of our Honorable Prime Minister, former Manmohan Singh ji. He is a director, IIPH Delhi. He is a president of Indian Association of Preventive Social Medicine. He is a professor of community medicine and vice dean at Government Medical College. He is director of IIPH Delhi. He is adjunct professor at most of the internationally acclaimed universities like Georgia, Southern University, University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, USA, University of Sydney, Australia, Deakin University, Melbourne. I think many more to add it. He is a member, Institute of Medicine, Global Forum on Innovation in Health Professional Education, Washington, D.C. He is a former chair, Global Evaluation and Monitoring Network of India, which is an important aspect of Government and Ministry of Health. He is a country lead for Asia Pacific Network on Health Professional Education Reform and country focal point for Asia Pacific Action Alliance for Women. Here I must admit openly that I was having the most difficult oration on evidence-based rational drug therapy and the most prestigious oration in India, IIP. You know, I contacted Dr. Sanjay Dhodpe sir. He said, don't worry. And day and night, we sat together and my oration was having standing ovation. I delivered that 1 hour dedicated to Sanjay Dhodpe sir. Over to Dhodpe sir, he is going to tell us, very humble, simple man of international stature, deciphering the mortality associated with COVID-19. Over to respected Sanjay Dhodpe sir, please.
Thank you, sir. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you, sir, for these generous words about me, and my pleasure to speak to all of you. And what I did is that I titled and nomenclatured my title presentation as Deciphering the Mortality Associated with COVID-19. And this is important to understand that how do we reduce the mortality? Because this is one of the important aspects of this current pandemic. And if you look at the scenario of mortality, both at the global level and in Indian context, we would see that although in India, the mortality is less as compared to what is being reported globally. But if you look at the contribution of India in COVID-19 pandemic, is we contribute to almost 17.4% of the total cases. But against that, the contribution to the mortality is around 10% or so. It's total deaths that we look at it. So the fatality is over in India as compared to the global picture is concerned. However, we must make efforts to prevent every single death. That is what is more important. Because when you talk about the comparisons between the case fatality ratio between countries, from statistics and epidemiology point of view, that's fine. But preventing every death because of COVID-19 remains important and critical for all the countries. But when you talk about containment of any pandemic, and for that matter here, COVID-19, there are two types of approaches which are critical. One is that prevention of new cases. How do we interrupt the transmission? How do we reduce morbidity because of COVID-19? How do we keep our overall because of the disease? And as Dr. Thapade was presenting in September or so, we reached almost more than 85, 90,000 cases per day. Now we have brought down that to less than 45,000 cases per day. That is important. But more important for us is how do you save the lives of the people? And for these both interventions for prevention of new cases, that halting the transmission and also the saving lives, there are strategic interventions which are critical in responding to the pandemic. But what I would do is that I would focus myself and try to understand how do we reduce the mortality which is associated with COVID-19, because that remains critical. We all understand there is a course next that we all are healthy at some point in time. Then there's a sizable proportion of population would suffer from asymptomatic or pre-symptomatic infection. And then you have a symptomatic mild infection. Some of them would land up in a more moderate and severe disease. Some of us then becomes critical and then death. So when we move from one compartment to the next compartment, there is a probability that there is an increased probability of a death. And we need to understand that how do we halt from moving one compartment to second compartment. From the first compartment being healthy to asymptomatic or infection is actually the intentions and strategies which are targeted to reduce the infection, halting the transmission. But subsequently, once you have contracted the infection, then we need to see that how do we prevent the mortality, and that remains critical for all of us. If you look at the case fatality ratio, which is used to describe the mortality globally, which is a ratio of basically number of diagnosed cases to the deaths which are happening in any country, it is lower in India as compared to other parts of the globe. But as I mentioned, that might be a solace for us to see that our case fatality ratio is low. But if you look at from the numbers point of view, because we are a large country, and we have a huge population, and therefore the absolute number of deaths are important and critical for all of us. But we need to understand what are the reasons which contributes to the mortality. If we wanted to bring down this mortality, we need to understand that there are certain epidemiological parameters, clinical care indicators, host factors. Experience sharing is also critical and important. Some issues related to the death audit, agent factors, health systems preparedness, intervention strategies, and understanding the statistics. And then finally, how do we actually translate the knowledge that we generate remains important and critical. Let me first throw some light on epidemiological parameters, particularly in Indian context and globally also we have seen that healthcare seeking behavior is important, both in terms of response time, and if you look at the measure that time lag between the history of exposure to the onset of symptoms to the seeking medical care, then onset of symptoms to sample collection and testing, sample collection to availability of the test results and admission to the hospital, even the test results availability and then admission to the hospital, hospitalization to the death. So these time lags needs to be identified and analyzed, because this is one of the reasons that is being contributing to the high mortality in Indian context. So this is important that we need to understand from that perspective. I will give an just illustrative example that we looked at for a particular city where we analyzed 144 deaths. And then we found that out of those 145, 70 deaths, almost 50% of deaths happened within 1 day of the sample being collected. And so, in a 1 day hospital admission, that's quite a substantial number. It's almost 63% of the deaths have happened in 2 days. This translates to saying that the people are reporting late, people are reaching to the hospital late, and that lag has contributed to because we need to give time to the healthcare managers and to the clinicians to reduce the mortality and deal with the patients in that context. Even some of them were brought dead also. So that is one of the important issue that we need to look at, that how do we reduce this mortality. We found that the systems might be overwhelmed. Sometimes we also found that there is improper advice and guidance given. People are not able to recognize the danger signs, and therefore there are certain reasons, like patients were hoping from one hospital to another hospital also. Probably we can have a centralized admission system in that context. Patients coming from the rural areas probably would take time to reach the hospitals. And of course, there are some issues related to the stigma and, home and patient care, community outlook. Those issues are always there. But these are the two newspaper reports, one from Mumbai and another from the South Indian Dakshin Kannada district, reported earlier that 1/3 of the deaths could be prevented if the people or the people who have contracted the infection, they're reaching the hospital in time. So this is one of the important epidemiological parameter, that seeking early care is critical for reducing the mortality. If you look at the clinical care indicators, we need to identify what are those clinical care indicators which contributes to the mortality. What were the patient's symptoms at the time of presentation? Whether the patient provided the care irrespective of the COVID-19 status, or we are demanding the test results are important. The type of hospitalization, then the type of hospitalization, both in the context of public sector or private sector, whether it's a secondary care or tertiary care, number of beds available, number of ICU beds available, the facility for the supplemental oxygen is available, ventilators. So those all parameters are critical when you analyze the deaths. Attitude of private hospitals for that matter, admission time in the private hospitals. In the night hours, the patients were being referred to the public hospitals, and by the time they reach the public hospitals, probably they would die or even sometimes blood dead also. So those issues are important to understand clinical care parameters. Are all clinical protocols in place? Because the knowledge regarding the management of COVID-19 is evolving on day-to-day basis. And therefore, we need to update our clinical protocols also. We need to review our clinical care protocols, whether the staff is appropriately trained. Are we adhering to the standard care clinical protocols are important. Whether the time lag is there between the hospital admission and seen by the consultant, because there are some examples where the patients are being admitted and not seen by the consultants for a day or so. So that's an important issue. Assessment of 24 hours clinical care, visit by the consultant or the residents or even the nursing staff and senior staff members is important to understand. Availability of the staff for 24 hours in the hospital, whether the staff is adequate or not. Because there are examples like one nurse was looking after 10 patients on ventilator. How would she handle these patients? Even the competence of the staff is critical and important. Time of the death needs to be analyzed, whether deaths are happening in the night hours or not. More deaths in specific facility or unit or ward needs to be investigated. There are equity issues also, like general wards where the patients from poor families are admitted versus some VIP patients being taken care of on a day-to-day basis. Equity issues are important. Healthcare workers, because now we have been in pandemic for almost a year or so, and now there is a health workers fatigue. How do we handle that? Motivation, support, no sigh of relief for the doctors who are treating these patients. So we need this problem solving response to these issues. And of course, the audit of the facilities and protocols with high number of deaths would identify certain reasons and critical important factors. The third important set of factors is the host factors, which contributes to the high mortality. And Dr. Kapade in his earlier presentation also mentioned about the advanced age, the comorbidities, the gender of the patients, hospital care. We need to identify which are those parameters and predictors which contributes to the mortality, and we'll deal with those parameters. Experience share is important. As I talk about that, this is a novel disease. This is a new disease, and the management protocols are changing over the period of time. So as quickly as possible, that we should be able to share the knowledge with the administrators and clinicians is important. We need to learn from each other, see that, and then how do we manage our patient so that we can save the lives of the people. In that, death audit, clinical audit of the deaths is important. Each death needs to be audited. We need a protocols for the death audits. And there should be a multi-speciality committee to undertake the audit in that context. Regular and timely reviews are important. And these learnings are to be shared with the key stakeholders. The death audit is not only for the documentation purpose, but the learnings from the death audit should also be reflected in our clinical care management. Even the verbal autopsy for the community deaths and clinical audit for hospital deaths are important, because some deaths are historic. Virulence of organisms, genetic things will also help us to understand agent factors. So next issue, last couple of slides basically is about health systems preparedness, whether our health systems is overwhelmed, whether our infrastructure is in place, like for example, hospital beds, ICU bed, testing capacity, ventilators, supply chain management, and more important and critically is our human resources like doctors, nurses, lab technicians. And then the infrastructure also includes, yesterday we had a very bad incidents and tragic incidents reported in Rajkot for that, contributing to the fire. Information to the nearest COVID-19 hospitals, engaging private sector are important from the health system preparedness point of view. Intervention strategies, like when you are now recommending domiciliary care for asymptomatic and chronic patients, but appropriately seek the care at appropriate time is critical and important from that perspective. We need to understand from the statistics point of view that we have infection fatality ratio and case fatality ratio. And infection fatality ratio would be almost 10 to 30 times higher as compared to the case fatality ratio. That needs to be understood to calculate from that perspective. The last couple of issues that I wanted to mention is about that we can always talk about the case fatality ratio. But what is more important is that even the daily reporting of the deaths, is that the count consistently falling or rising? Is it that the 7-day moving averages of the death, how it is behaving? That these are all important. There might be, of course, certain undercounting and underreporting of the deaths, but daily count of the deaths would help us to understand where are we progressing in terms of this pandemic is concerned, and that needs to be looked at very critically. Then the next important issue is that the knowledge generation and translation. We all understand that there are a lot of research going on, both in terms of an observational epidemiological study, surveillance studies, clinical trials are going on for the vaccines and some interventions also. But we all understand that how do we translate this knowledge and bring it to the clinicians as quickly as possible so that we are able to manage our patients appropriately. And certain guidance documents are available for estimating the mortality, like medical certifications are concerned, and various agencies, both international and national agencies, are producing these documents, which contributes to our understanding. So this last slide, I wanted to emphasize that there will be variations in the case fatality ratio, summarily reported nationally and globally also. But we need to understand that this variation is because of the way we are handling in terms of the quality of the care that we are providing. Are we the patients reporting in time to the hospitals? And finally, the kind of a profile of the patient that is there. The message that I wanted to finally give is that we should be able to reduce the mortality associated with the COVID-19. All these statistics is useless for the family who is losing people, and therefore every survival, every death is important, and we all together should all put our efforts to bring down that mortality and prevent those every death that is happening in the community. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Dr. Bodhankar and Dr. Thapar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjay Zhodpe, sir. We are honored to listen to your mind-blowing issues related to deaths of COVID. Take-home message is what you have said: knowledge generation and dissemination. And the important point, what you said: epidemiological parameter, people late responding, and IEC measure. Then clinical care indicators. There are many factors. You said daily deaths which were there. We always see in our newspaper also, NFC and Government of India. There is a website. Every day deaths, mortality, morbidity is there. We must keep that. There are host factor. You said experience sharing and most important death audit, which you said it. I know from Search Garchu, Dr. Abhay Bang. There I learned first time, 2 decades back, what is meant by verbal autopsy. Before that, I never knew. Verbal autopsy for community deaths and health system preparedness. I think very important point you are told. We are honored, Sanjay sir. Always it is always honored to listen to your updated knowledge regarding epidemiology. So thank you very much, sir.